Okay, wow.
Hey.
I see that you've gone to freshen up.
Yeah.
Gone to nice, nice one, nice one. So
Yeah.
before you came back, I told them to share with me some of the things they've learned and how they are going to apply some of the things that they've
That's
learned.
it.
Because we're not in the group of those that deliver and are not about people applying what we deliver.
Yeah.
Knowledge, not power. Knowledge
Yeah.
that is appropriately understood, appropriately utilized at the right time,
Correct.
right reasons is power.
Correct.
PK, you were about ideology and you wanted to use the case of ISIS to
Correct.
yeah. So go
Yes,
ahead.
sir. Yes, sir. Again, thank you so much, Coach, for this platform. Thank you for this exchange. Yeah, so I was just focusing on ISIS as a case study. It's very important that we understand what has worked for ISIS. We are happy that ISIS was defeated, but if you understand the character of terror, you will know that it's going to show up and again as another name. It was Al-Qaeda, it was PLO, it became Al-Qaeda, it became ISIS, something else will come, because it is easy to defeat the shell of an ideology. It's difficult to defeat an ideology itself. You can't defeat an ideology with weapons. You cannot defeat an ideology with guns. You can't defeat an ideology, as a matter of fact, with persecution. Let me explain what I mean. What people don't even know is that persecution strengthens resolve. Persecution is not a spiritual phenomenon. Anything you persecute will grow. Anything you persecute. Anything you persecute is going to grow in strength. The gay movement has been persecuted for years. It has continued to grow. If you don't want something, you engage it creatively, not by persecution. Christianity did not grow because the apostles were strategic. No. The apostles were on one spot. They were told to spread to the whole world. The apostles refused to spread to the whole world. They were consumed in the drama of the miracles. They stood on one point performing miracles in Jerusalem. Then persecution came and scattered them. They started preaching to the world as they were running from persecution. They were preaching everywhere they go, everywhere they went. So it wasn't strategic commitment that spread the gospel. It was running from persecution. It was persecution that spread it, actually. In the same way, if you tell a girl not to date, you tell a young girl, don't date, and you don't explain why, creatively and with inspiration, you are telling him to date. Because do not means do not in your usage, in your writing. But in comprehension, do not means do. Do not without explanation equals do. So when you tell people, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this, thou shalt not, thou shalt not. What people are hearing is thou shalt, thou shalt, thou shalt. You will do it. You must do it. That's why the law could not work. Because the law in the Old Testament was saying, thou shalt not commit adultery. And what was he achieving? Thou shalt commit adultery. He was saying, thou shalt not do this. What was he achieving? Thou shalt. So persecution strengthens resolve. Anything you don't want, you have to use strategic foresighting, creative engagement to respond to it and contain it. Otherwise, if you use force of persecution, you are going to strengthen that thing. Whether that thing is right or wrong. If you persecute Christianity, it's going to grow. If you persecute Islam, it's going to grow. You cannot persecute anything. You can only defeat any ideology through a superior ideology. Through a superior ideology. If you engage it with force, it's just going to morph into another type of construct. It's just going to morph into another. That's why we need 5G, coach. It's just going to it's just going to morph into another type of power, and it's going to express itself again. Now, second look at this ISIS. This ISIS did not have business cards. They didn't have podcasts. They didn't have the head of business development. They didn't have a marketing team. All they had was technology. All they had was technology. And they had an ideological message. ideology plus technology is dominance any day. And so what did they do? They placed the whole of ideology. they placed their entire ideological content on a technological platform. And what did that do? It compelled professionals, doctors in the UK, doctors, professionals, businessmen in France, in Belgium, in first world countries. I don't want to mention names. There's even a son of a big-time judge in Nigeria that packed his entire family to the ISIS camp. You see, everybody was going to the ISIS camp. They were abandoning their professional life, their professional success, in exchange for the termination of their lives in ISIS camp. And they were doing that with joy because of the ideological promise of Al-Jannah. So part of that means that ideology is so strong, it can terminate reasoning. Why? Because every philosopher, coach agrees with me that ideology is dogma. It eliminates, it is dogmatic, it is dogma. That is, I'm ready to live and die by this belief, even if society refuses to reward this content. I'm ready, I will die by it. So all martyrs were able to make that martyrdom based on ideology, not philosophy. So a lot of times the reason we struggle with our product development. So there are some companies that operate ideologically. I'll give you some. Disney World. Disney is ideological in its positioning, in its messaging. They are transgenerational. This comic company, they just left my mind. The comic company they left my mind now. Sorry? Marvel, thank you, sir. Marvel, they created comics for children. As the children were getting old, they gave them cartoons. As they were getting old, they gave them big alumni, big hardcover representation of those comics. As they were getting older, they gave us Batman as movies. They put it in the cinemas. What they are saying is you are locked in our ideology. We grow with you, we live with you, we die with you. Your children's children will inherit the same thing, just like religion is. There are Spider-Man fans who lived how many years ago? Their children are still Spider-Man fans. Their children's children will be Spider-Man fans. The same way their children's children will be Christians, will be Muslims. You see? Barcelona, that's another example. The sports role, Manchester United. Those guys don't trade on philosophy or emotions. They trade on ideology. So what I'm saying to us now is, because of the restlessness of Generation Z, because of the rebellion, the creative natural rebellion of millennials, the laissez-faire, I don't care, I want everything on my terms attitude of Generation Z, they need some things now as a requirement. The only way to arrest the attention of that generation is ideological. If you want to disciple them in church, or you want to keep them in your mosque, or you want to keep them in your temples, or you want to keep them in your music, or you want to keep them following your poetry, or you want to keep them in your movies, whatever you want to do, you want to keep them coming to your salon, you want to keep them coming to your, engaging you for event management, you want to keep them wearing your genre of clothing, you want to keep them doing whatever, you can only lock them in ideologically. So you have to come into ideological narratives. Now, we don't have all the time for that. So go online, Google it, get books, and learn how that is done. But whatever you cannot say and pitch ideologically is what you cannot sell to those generations. And in the next 10 years and the years after that, in the last session that we did, I mentioned that post-COVID is in 3 phases. There is post-COVID between now and 2021, max early 2022. That's phase 1 post-COVID. Second post-COVID is from 2022 tops and 2030. By the end of the decade, phase 2 will end. By the third phase is 2030 and beyond. That is the third phase of COVID. Now listen, there is a crisis coming to the human race. I predict it's going to be somewhere in the next 30 or 50 years. The world is not ready for it. I'm sure by the time it happens, I will have died. But it will be written in my documentations. It is the mother of all crises of the human race. It's going to be worse than the First World War. It's going to be worse than the Second World War. It's going to be worse than any pandemic and all of them combined. The impact is incredible. And it's going to be based on body mass disappearance. Human beings are going to vanish at a speed unimaginable. A plane will be flying and the pilot will vanish. And that whole plane will just crash into some building. When that happens, maybe the president of the United States will have vanished. The head of the Dr. Fauci will be nowhere to be found. Coach will probably not be here to offer clarity on what is going on. PK will not be here to be invited to offer clarity. It will be a disaster. The head of Pentagon may be flying in from Cuba and it will happen. His plane will crash. He will be in a jungle. It will take him another 1 month to even come to life for them to know where he is. Not to talk of pressing the nuclear weapon. You see, it's going to be a major crisis. Somebody will perform it because it's going to be based on human disappearance. It's the greatest human story ever told. And again, there is a vaccine. There is a race. There is not a race. There is a capacity available for people to be immune to that experience because there will be a selective process for choosing those who are going to disappear. It's called rapture. It's called rapture. It is the greatest disaster in human history. Get ready for it. I'm going to tell everybody whatever you are going to do within the next decade, do all you can to make sure you are not in post-rapture. You see all these things they are talking about, 5G, technology, all of these antichrist, 666, they are all post-rapture events. They are all, and it's going to, that crisis is going to go on for about 7 years. It's going to be unimaginable. That is the final emergence of the world as a police state, under one government, under one currency. I'll leave all of that. That is the final fledgling of the technocracy system of government as never thought before. But this decade is the beginning of technocracy. We're going to speak less and less of democracy. We're going to speak more and more of technocracy in this decade. And technocracy is a system of government that is driven by technology and is managed by technologists. Please, I didn't say technocrats. It is driven by technology and managed by technologists. All of our degrees, MBA, accountant, all of that, they are going to be relevant, but they will be secondary tools. The primary tool of the decade and beyond is tech. Now, let me come back to power architecture. So what you want to do now is to answer those 5 questions. I gave you 4. Where is the money? Don't forget. Who is holding it? How do we reach them? If we reach them, what do you say? It was what to say that took us into ideology and philosophy. So the last question is, how do you say it? If you know what to say, how do you say it? What platform, what vehicle do you use? Do you use a podcast? Do you need to create a brochure? Does it need to be an e-brochure? Or does it need to be a physical brochure? Do you need a podcast, a blog? Do you need a website? Do you need ClickFunnels set up for your digital marketing? How do you say it? What is the fastest? Don't forget, the most critical resource in the world today is not crude oil. That's obvious. That's why Nigeria is jumping on one spot. So it's crude oil. It's not crude oil. It's not gold. It's not gold. It's not uranium. It's not any natural resource. It's not even internet. It's not even data. The most critical resource in the world today is attention. Attention. Every other resource is trying to buy from that attention. Internet, data, artificial intelligence, machine learning, call it whatever. They are all trying to buy from attention. Attention is the #1 resource. Please, whatever you are doing now, you are in a universe of attention. You are creating what your business is, a parallel universe to the universe of every human being that will consume your product. There is a theory of parallel universes, which suggests that two people can exist in one spot, or two concepts or two ideas. I'm just trying to apply it at a lay level. The existence of two concepts or two entities doing two different things at the same time. Doing two different things at the same time. It's a theory, so some people still debate whether it is true or not. But for those of you who are Christians, if you use the Bible, you know that you are on earth now, and you are also seated at the right hand of God. That's parallel universes. You are in two different places doing two different things at the same time. So parallel universe is pretty much doing two different things at the same time in two different places. So let me apply that. If you are a father and you are a husband, that's parallel universe, because you are doing two different things at the same time. I'm applying it for you now. In the same
Your audio is gone low again.
The audio?
Yes.
It's some that try to call me, you know.
It's back
Hello?
up now.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
It's back up now. Okay.
Yeah.
So when the call comes in, it just affects everything. I don't know why this guy is trying to call me. The audio is still good.
Yeah, back now.
Great. So, sorry, coach, where was I?
You're a husband and you're a father.
Yeah, so you are in a parallel universe. So parallel universe is being able to do two things at the same time, right, in two different places. So, I gave an example of the Christian. The Bible says that you are here on earth in a universe. You are also seated at the right hand of God the Father at the same time, doing two different things, parallel universe. Now, my concept is, today, as you move into post-COVID, you are going to have every customer buying from you. You must create your own universe parallel to their own. It means that they must have their life completely. They must enjoy their life the way they want, how they want it. Then you must align your own product or idea to suit it. That is the only way. Prejudice is the King Kong of society. I've told you, the strength of consumption now is prejudices. So you can't alter my prejudice. You have to align. It's either you align. You can't make me to practice. I'm a Christian, and I'm a dogmatic, ideologically lost, unrepentant Christian. So if you are going to change the way I think to another faith, the only way to do it is to kill me, really. So that's how products are going to be. The only way to shift somebody from a reigning product, maybe you want to get him to focus on another brand, like some people are loyal to Netflix now. If Fubo TV or Hulu, I don't know if you know Hulu, guys, but if Hulu is going to take over, want to compete with Fubo TV, or wants to compete with Netflix or with Amazon, right? It's not going to happen because its logo is nice. No. It's not going to happen because the color is using is gold or black. Royal, use royal. All those things are not going to happen anymore. They will still be there, yes, but what will be critical is the why. Why am I coming into your space? Why should I allow you into my space? Why should I do that? So it's not enough. We are seeing the end of competition like we used to see it. It's either you are in or you are not in. There will be no demilitarized zone. Markets are being collapsed like never before. Then by the third phase of, I think we should futurize a bit. Let's futurize a bit. So by the time we are going to the third phase of post-COVID, definitely in this decade, driverless cars are going to be in Nigeria. They are going to be in Accra. In this decade, driverless cars are already all over the world. Before the end of this decade, you are going to see a driverless car on the streets of Accra and Lome, on the streets of Lagos and Dakar. You are going to see them on the street of Lusaka. You are going to see driverless cars there, Tesla or some brand. Again, there's going to be a merger of automobile companies. They're going to come together because of one technology that will get more and more pronounced within the decade and beyond. It's called electronics. Now, we've heard of nanotechnology, right? Now, with nanotechnology and electronics coming together, come on, they are going to allow machines and equipments, massive equipments, gigantic equipments to function in one piece. So, for example, you can have a truck, a bike, and a sports car in one machine. If you press a button in the morning, you drive a sports car. If you are tired of it and you have a big truck load to carry, you press another button, it becomes a truck. Then you want to go see your girlfriend in the evening, you want to go in the cruise of a bike. You press another button, it becomes a bike. That is going to be made possible by electronics. Now, have you seen the movie called Transformer? If you have seen the movie Transformer, you know Hollywood is one of the jobs of Hollywood has some jobs. One job that Hollywood has is to introduce the world to its future lifestyle before it comes. That's the job of Hollywood. So future technology is taken from the labs into Hollywood to be made into a story and introduced to you. When you see movies like Hunger Games, when you see movies like The Men Who Built America, when you see Purge, when you see movies like Matrix, when you see movies like The Purge, they are telling you, we see movies like The Lord of War, those are ideological movies selling us the reality of life and the reality of the future. If you study them well, like I can tell you for free, that life after 2020, after 2030, is going to be pretty much in a technocracy, and the technocracy is going to work more easily in a police state. Now, in the United States, where I live, in the United States, you have what we call the credit score, your credit score. If you owe money, right, and you default, it's going to impact on your credit score. The lower your credit score, the lower your ability to engage in the system. The higher your credit score, the higher your ability to engage in the system. Now, every time you talk about a first world country, you are talking about 5 things, basically. There are 5 things that define a third world country. The first one is equal opportunities. Second one, enabling environment. Third one, access to credit. Fourth one, power of the currency. 5th one, I can't remember. Anyway, 5. Now, those 5 things are present in every first world country. Power of the currency, present. Enabling environment, present. Equal opportunities, present. Power of the currency, present. I can't remember the 5th one. Now, every third world country, peak Nigeria, equal opportunities, absent. Enabling environment, absent. Power of the currency, 0. Access to credit, 0. So that is why it's a third world country. You get me? Now, that access to credit is very important, because in a credit-based society, the higher your credit score, the higher your potential, your propensity to engage, the elasticity of your engagement in society. In China today, they don't just have a credit score. They have what is called a social credit score in China. A social credit score. Go check it. Social credit score means you get credit score to the degree of your behavior. So when you behave stupidly, your social credit score goes down. There are people in China now who are not allowed to fly a plane because of a low social credit score. Wow. There are people in China now who cannot take a train. They cannot take a train because of a low social credit score. They cannot take a train, right? So in the police states, like the Hunger Games society that is ahead, because that Hunger Games you saw, if you have seen Hunger Games and all its parts, I can give one statement, just one statement that summarizes the entire concept of the Hunger Games movie. What they are trying to say is that in an Hunger Games society that is sure ahead, there's going to be a dependence of the 99% on the 1%. Bottom line. A lot of things in the movie is just movie. They just make it entertaining. But the summary of the message is that in the future and in a police state, there's going to be society will be regionalized in terms of there will not be national sovereignty. National sovereignty will be out of our communication. So the concept of nation state will be gone. There will not be Nigeria, Lagos, America in the future. In that, after that crisis I spoke about, after that crisis, there won't be countries. There will be districts. There will be regions. They will be controlled from the capital. The capital will now have a central government. All presidents will become governors. All governors will become local government chairmen or mayors or something. You know, I'm just futurizing and telling you the truth. So that is what's going to happen. And then you are going to have a regulation of society. Freedom will be taken away. People always tell me, how can anybody take our freedom away? We're in a civilized world. Well, they say when the going gets tough, the tough cannot just keep going because he can miss his way. When the going gets tough, the tough sees collaboration. You see, every crisis emerges a new level of humility. In the West, where I come from, they say, oh, well, it's Todaran. Let me translate. That the thug has not seen beating and punishment. That's why he says he's insulting the person that is harassing him. They said in the face of beating and punishment, what you'll be asking is, wait, what did I do exactly? Because of the weight of the punishment, right? So, so the idea is crisis births humility and it births collaboration. If anybody had told you that 20 years ago, if anybody had told you last year that the whole world will obey lockdown and be in their homes, if anybody had told Americans that they will be in their homes and sit down humbly, if anybody had told them, they would say it's not possible. There's no law that can make that happen. There's no government that can make that happen. Only a crisis can make that happen. Because when crisis happens, we trade our freedom for solution. We trade our freedom for solution. So in the face of crisis, the exchange instrument is freedom. So the more crisis you have, the more freedom you lose. Because favor is not free. Somebody's picking up the bill. For every degree of freedom that you seek, for every degree of favor that you seek, you lose a level of freedom. For every degree of favor that you seek, you lose a level of freedom. Even if you get the favor from God, you will lose a level of freedom. He will tell you to be like him, to do stuff like him. He will tell you to obey his rules, to get it. So somebody said, but the gospel is free? But the gospel is free? No. Don't confuse what is made available for what is free. The gospel was not free. Jesus paid the price. They only made it available for you. So nothing is free in the world. Free is, even in Freetown, they say, nothing is free. So understand that. And if you get that straight, you see how a police state will come. It is a crisis that will make society more of a police state. And the future governed after that crisis, particularly for those of you who understand the concept of the Antichrist, that police state is not going to come by force. It's going to come by humility. Nations are going to yield by themselves their freedom to a solution. So part of that is happening in China now. I told you that in China, there are people who have committed crime, who have behaved wrongly in society, who cannot take a train. It's not just going to jail. The social justice system has gone beyond jail and prison and penitentiary. Now there are punishment for behavior that exists in society. And I've told everybody that care to listen, China cannot become the superpower of the world. This is not the day to discuss that. We are discussing power. Another day, I will show you one day why China cannot become a superpower and how a superpower can evolve. The whole world believes China will become a superpower except China itself. Because you don't become a superpower and show dominance based on your ability to copy. It doesn't work that way. You have to think 0 to 1, not 1 to infinity. You have to create something from nothing. Copying is the study of eccentricity, not originality. And not, so it can't work. So get that straight. But I can tell you something about China. The system of government in China used to be communist. China was getting poorer with their communism. A whole country called Soviet Union disappeared. Their anthem dead, their flag gone, based on communism. So China took instruction. I told you, crisis births humility. So the crisis of Soviet Union gave China the humility to know that communism cannot work. So what did they do? They embraced a part of capitalism and democracy without abandoning the shell of communism. So if you ask me now, what is the system of government in China? Nobody knows. It doesn't have a name. It's not capitalism. It's not communism. It's just some type of harmony between those two extremes. But they've created something. But they have a police state, constant. So in China, there is camera, face recognition, camera everywhere in China to monitor your behavior. That is not how China is going to look. That is how the whole world is going to look. It's not going to happen next year. But in the decade and the days after, we are going there. So what I'm saying to us, therefore, is you have to understand that you are renting a space within a culture. The ideological construct of your messaging is very key. But nobody is going to give you what you deserve in this season. You are going to get what you negotiate and what you negotiate intentionally. Don't sit down and expect dominance to be bestowed on you. It's going to be the rise of monopolies. I've said this before and I'll say it again. The only way you can exist in your market is to be a monopoly. You see, me and Coach, we are in the same industry. But do you know what? We don't compete. The only reason why Coach can bring me here is because I'm not competing with him. He's not competing with me. Unknown to you, Coach has a monopoly of the industry. I also have a monopoly in my industry. But our monopolies are existing in the parallel universe. You see? So that friendship can remain. But if we compete, both of us are two dead bodies trying to enter one coffin. If we dare compete. Because in the future, some of us are already in that zone. But I'm challenging every entrepreneur. Get out of competition. You are your competition. Get out of competition. You can only exist as a monopoly. When you are in monopoly, you set your price. What is happening in the industry doesn't concern you. If they like, let the industry be selling at 1 naira. You can sell at 5,000 naira. It's called perceived value. Perceived value. So people can sell CDs at 500 naira. I sell my own CD at 10,000. Coach sell his own at 10,000. I sell my CDs 50,000. Somebody said it's too much. I said nothing is too much. It's too much for you. You are the one that is not in the loop. So I didn't plan for you. I'm not planning for you. So I didn't plan for you. Once it's not in your pocket, you are not in my clique. So may the Lord help you. Your messenger will come. I'm not your prophet. But those who I am their prophet, they are the ones I'm targeting. So everything I am doing is for them. I don't need a bunch of keys to open the door. I need only one key, the right key. So, and that is what monopolies understand. When you think monopolistic, right, you transcend the limits of competition. You are not trying to compete. You just master your field and become the one offering an experience that if anybody is akin to that experience, they will come look for you. That is who you must be in your industry. 1 billion event managers can be there. Let them be there. What are you going to do? A barber, somebody cutting his the male hair, called me the other day and said, I'm in crisis. What am I going to do? I said, your job is easy. You are a barber, do 2 things and 2 things alone. Number 1, 3 things rather. Number 1, promote less of coming to your store. Promote more of home service. 2, go luxury. Make your service for the love. There's no amount you can charge that can bother the 1%. Even if you charge 5K per hair, it's nothing to the 1%. So change how much you are charging. Stop charging 800 naira, 500 naira. Go to 3,500 or 5,000 or 10,000 per hair. Then ask yourself, how do I make him feel happy for giving me 10,000 every time he cuts his hair? Because if he cuts his hair 4 times a month, that is 40,000 bucks a month. That is approximately $10 every month. So in America, though, that 4 times every month is $100. It's $100 every month. So what's going to make somebody give you $100, every month? Why is he going to do that? The only way that is going to happen easily is for you to answer is why, not your why. Answer is why. Be ideological. Answer all those questions we have said. Rent a space in his head. He will part with his money joyfully. The same way cars can sell for $10,000. But those who buy Rolls Royce are not those who just love cars. They have a why for buying Rolls Royce. There is a reason for buying BMW. There is a reason for buying a Louis Vuitton. Somebody buying a Louis Vuitton is not trying to wear clothes. There is another statement he's trying to make that transcends the nature of clothing. He has transcended that place. So come into that narrative, build that kind of power, and zone into that place. Coach, I think you want to ask a question.
Yes, I just want to open up the lines and just, so that we can have maybe two or three people ask questions so that we can round up. So I'm turning on the comments. If you've got a question, we'll round up in the next 5 minutes. If you have any questions, if you have been blessed, if you have any comments, just drop your comments. If you've got any questions for PK, ask your questions. I learned that just ask your questions. If you if you want to share what you've learned and what you're going to do with what you've learned, one thing you've learned and one thing that you're going to do. Can Nigeria become a superpower, PK?
Nigeria cannot become a superpower, period. Nigeria cannot. And if Nigeria is going to be so, it's going to happen from the private sector. If you go and watch The Men Who Built America, it's a movie, it's a documentary movie. The Men Who Built America, you will see how the private sector use ideation, innovation to compel the government to legislate in their favor and build enterprise. That is the way to take over government. It's not political parties. All the people carrying placard around, they want to be political parties to change Nigeria. They are jokers. Politics cannot change Nigeria. Only enterprise can change Nigeria. We need to have, if you have like 100 Dangote, we will change Nigeria overnight. We will create middle class from 100 companies so that you forget all of that politics. Politics does not change America. Businessmen change America. They force the politicians to make laws to suit them. So the next time you see visionaries who are carrying placard, ask them what their plan for enterprise is. Enterprise is the way to go. The Men Who Built America is a perfect model of how the private sector become a renegade group who will use creative rebellion and mental weaponry through ideas to create products and services that will create jobs and impact on GDP and per capita income, that the government will have no choice but to rally around, and they will compel them to make legislation to suit those businesses. That is the savior of Nigeria and Africa. And you and I are the one that bear that. But it is the person that is well that can donate blood. You cannot go to the hospital and say, I want to give you all my blood when you are HIV positive. They will appreciate it, but they will reject the blood. That capacity to offer blood for free, you don't have it. So that blood offering is about capacity. So go into your world, wear your mental weaponry, go into the realm of revelation, come up with authentic ideas, and build a colossal organization that can change the world and shape culture. That is the future of Nigeria.
All right, PK, so all this saying, can you please recommend at least 5 books?
5 books. First of all, before I recommend 5 books, I want to recommend the community of Lanre Olusola. I don't know if you have taken time to check that community out and check out what they are doing in Oka. I am sick and tired of Western and American ideas that get you excited and don't move you forward. We have knowledge warriors on these parts, and you guys need to open your mind to what we are understanding about the peculiarity of your society. So please, the first material, the first resource, not a book, the first resource I'm going to recommend for you is Lanre Olusola Coaching Association. Go check it out. I'm sure he's very embarrassed that I'm doing this. This is not what he planned. He didn't ask me to do it. It's just my own rebellion. Everybody knows I have a problem. So I've accepted my own problem. I just thought I should say that. So go in there. If you are watching us tonight, and you have never visited his website, you have not seen the work that is going, you are one of those people who strayed. Don't stray, because people who stray are those who get hit by stray bullets. So you get more purposeful, right? And get out there, find that website, see what is going on in Orca, and get involved and put yourself inside a first resource. The second resource I would recommend is a book called Truth and Transformation, a manifesto for alien nations. A manifesto for alien nations is by a gentleman called Vishal Mangalwadi. Get into that book, it's going to change your life. The third resource I would recommend is a book called 0 to 1. 0 to 1. 0 to 1 is a book written by a gentleman called Peter Thiel. Peter Thiel. Peter Thiel was one of the co-founders of PayPal. Go and get that book. It's going to change your life. The fourth material I'm going to recommend is my last 3 webinars. My last 3 webinars on my platform. Go check it out. My last 3 webinars, where I broke down the entire season, the entire next 20 years. Go get those webinars, order for them, and read. You can't have them in your phone. You can only get access to them and watch. They will give you more perspective and help you to engage. The final book, I guess the person who asked that question is asking about the books I believe in. The greatest book I would recommend for everybody is the Bible. Whether you are a Christian or you are a Muslim or you are a Buddhist, it doesn't matter. It's a resource material. It's good for business. It's good for politics. It's good for entertainment, media, education. There's nothing you are doing you cannot find in that resource. Don't read it with the eyes of faith. Don't come and because it's a Christian book. The Bible is more than a Christian book. The Bible is the book of life. Anybody in the world can benefit from it. Get into it. When you get into it, you will meet the content, and I'm sure you will have a relationship with the writer of the book. So those are my 5 materials.
Fantastic, fantastic. Thank you, PK. You know, I'm going to recommend that you follow 3 people. 3 people. 3 people. Make sure that you follow Kunle Soriyan. Make sure that you follow Fela Durotoye, and make sure you follow me. When you follow 3 of us, you will get the complete message for your life. Make sure your spouse follows us. Make sure your organization engages us. Look, he has told you we do not compete. We have never been in competition with each other, but yet we operate in the same industry. And we mark our territory, we dominate our territory, we fulfill the mandate of being fruitful, multiplying, replenishing, subduing, and taking dominion.
That's it.
For you to become everything that God has ordained you to be. If you are a Nigerian or a black man, and you do not follow 3 of us, you know, you are giving yourself problems. That's that I want to recommend. The first one is the Lanre has recommended the Bible. The second one is the Purpose-Driven Life. The third one is a book called The Happy Pocket Full of Money. A Happy Pocket Full of Money. This man was the man. He's a Kenyan. He was the ideology behind The Secret. They took his concept and they rewrote it as the book called The Secret, as the movie. Is an African. Go and get that book, A Happy Pocket Full of Money. The 4th book that you need, because we're at a tipping point in history, is the tipping point. We're at a tipping point in history. Go and get the tipping point, because it presents to you the principles of how to transition at a tipping point. And the last one is The Alchemist. Because you are acting a movie of your life, you must be an actor and you must understand of acting, right? You must understand your role and what your role means and what you need to do within your role and what you need to learn even as you are acting. So it is very, very important. Those 5 books, the Bible, the Purpose-Driven Life, A Happy Pocket Full of Money, The Tipping Point, and the last one is The Alchemist. On that note, I want to thank my brother, PK. You've been magnanimous. You know, yesterday I had Fela and I, we did, interestingly, the same thing that happened today. We had 2 sessions back to back. Now, you heard Fela yesterday. You've heard PK again today. And, you know, I'm facilitating that discussion. I'm not threatened by them. They are not threatened by me. We support each other. We challenge each other. We speak into each other's life, and we support each other all the way. And we speak truth to each other. Anytime I need clarification on anything, I need to challenge my crazy mind, I will go and meet my crazy friend.
Yes.
And my other crazy friend. And we tell each other the truth. If it will not work,
Same here.
we tell each other it will not work. If it
Then
is
you know, we go away every year, once a year, for about 3 years. You and I, we go away alone, and we critique our work. You to talk about that. We do that together and set mode for what we're going to do in a year. You know,
we go on a retreat together. We strategize. We practice the law of creative destruction. We destroy our work. The work we did last year, we destroy it. We start all over again. Every year we did it consistently for 3 years. And so don't be in competition with your friend. Don't be in competition with the people in your industry. Create your own field. Create your own field. Tiger Woods at some point never used to compete against anybody. The world was trying to beat. Serena Williams does not compete. At some point, the world was trying to compete. Lionel Messi at some point was not competing against anybody. Or Cristiano Ronaldo was not competing against anybody. But at some point, the world was trying to compete against them. Define your field. 5 levels of existence. You cannot transition from fruitfulness to dominion. There are levels. Fruitful, multiply, replenish, subdue, dominion. But if you have a competitive spirit, if you have a covetous spirit, if you are not content with your field and your space, you can never rise to dominion. On that note, I want to say thank you. Tonight, I'm not going to do any affirmations. Just go to my, my Instagram. You'll find the affirmation. Tonight has been profound. I am going to think about so many things tonight. PK has just validated, and that always happens. He has validated a lot of the crazy things that I've been thinking, I've been documenting, and my team will tell you that we are far ahead of the curve, because, it's always been the why. Why? The philosophy, the ideology, right? The belief, the why is the thing that always drives you and should always drive you. Apple is an ideology. They understand the why. So what is the why of your existence? What is the why of the solution that you're providing? What is the why of the problem that you're trying to solve? What is the why of your market? The people that have the problem that you're a solution to. I'm sure many of you are sober, and it's okay to be sober. It's time for you to go back now and go and think about your life. Tomorrow, I'm bringing JJ Omojua. JJ Omojua is the king of Twitter. And he's going to be telling us about how to transition everything we have learned now to that space. PK talked about people that they understand the platforms. JJ Omojua understands the platform of Twitter. Imagine if there was no Twitter now. Imagine if there was no Instagram now. Imagine if there was no Zoom now. Imagine if there was no webinar now. Imagine if there was no internet now. What will we all be doing? It's time for each and every one of us as Nigerians and Africans to create the solution that we were born to create. We are the next phase. But for you to be in the next phase, go back to your creator. Go back to the one that created you. He's waiting to drop some inspiration, some revelation. The Bible says that there is a spirit in man, and the inspiration of the Almighty giveth them understanding. If you want to be operating in the dimension that we are talking about, if you want to stop existing as a survivor, if you want to operate at the level of significance, you cannot do it alone anymore. You need a personal and intimate relationship with God. And if you do not have that relationship, you can't know his voice. You cannot understand which one is revelation and which one is nonsense that is coming from the devil, or which one is coming from your flesh. And so for you to enjoy revelation, you need an intimate and a personal relationship. That's all I'm going to say. The next dimension is given to the people that know the future. They know what to do when the future comes. In fact, they know when the future comes. Do you know that the future is the future, but you do not know the real appointed time? And so it's about understanding the signs, the seasons, and the appointed time, and knowing exactly what to do. The Bible says that the whole world groans in pain. They are eagerly awaiting you and I, who tap into that personal relationship as the sons of God, have a revelation for the solution of the problems that exist. Oh, tonight has been profound. You know, we're not talking religion. We're not talking religion, but you know what? Go and develop a personal and intimate relationship with the Almighty God. He's the supreme power. It's called all power. He is omnipotent. Omnipotent. I started out by playing the song of Michael Jackson that we were going to start something tonight. And I know of a certainty that we have started something. I'm going to end with that song. We're about to start something. Something has already started.
Awesome.
Oh, King of Pop. I want you to go back and be listening to that song as a recall, as an encore. Now we're going to post this message on my Instagram for the next 24 hours, and then we'll put it on my Insta story. You know, man, the last couple of weeks has been profound. PK, I can't say enough thank you to you. You know, my prayer is that the next dimension will open up itself to you. The next dimension will open up itself to you, and you will reap the benefits of being ahead of time. Yeah, you will not lag behind. Every single thing that is yours, you will enjoy it at the right time in the name of Jesus. Thank you very much, my brother. And for everyone, it's time to go. Bless you.
Amen.
Bless you. Phenomenal tonight.
Awesome.
Time out.
Thank you. Thank you.